We are Teatro Luna, Chicago's only all-Latina theater company, and you are listening to Harv Roman Show on WCGO 1590 AM.
Lost their mind. It looks like from now on we'll need to hide. They're saying that they're gonna go out hunting. So what are we gonna do? I believed this was the land of the free. Seems like that's starting to fade. Looks like our home is not all that brave. Not much difference between us two. I work hard just like you do, and I'm ready to fight. I know what is right. Let our children be raised in peace. Just let them freely spread their wings. Let their futures be bright. Let freedom and dreams be the hope of our future.
Now you'll get to know each other all over again, maybe.
Yeah, yay! And then I could be, then I could be a part of your next production, and I could be the mayor that was there, who somehow disappeared.
I love it. I love it. No, you hit the nail.
Am I giving away secrets that I shouldn't?
No, it's all good. You've hit the nail on the head, though. The show has had a really long process, and that's why when we did the workshop at the Viaduct, we didn't necessarily know what it was. We just hadn't produced a main stage play in so long. We had been in development. This play has a really unique story. It started as an entirely different project. It was a co-production with Bailiwick Chicago, a co-production that we were going to co-write, co-everything, called the North-South Plays. And it was a pitch that they had come to us with. They said, we really want to do something about the northern and southern borders. People talk about the southern borders, but they don't talk as much about the northern borders. And we were like, this is awesome. You're predominantly, you know, mainstream, white, male dominated theater company, and we're an all-Latina theater company. This would be a really interesting project to take head on. Mm-hmm. Long story short, it didn't work out. A month before we were supposed to open, they weren't able to move on with the project, and the CCPA had been sold, so we lost our space. I mean, crazy story. Mm-hmm. So we had to write, develop, direct, produce the workshop of Crossed in 2 months. And so, you know,
2 nights,
2 months.
2 months.
2 months,
which is not a lot of time. Usually we take about a year.
We wrote it, and I want to say, and directed, like put it up in 2 months.
So you guys wrote for about 3 weeks max.
Yes. Yeah.
So anyway, so when we did the workshop, we were calling it a show, but we knew, as with all TL pieces, it's going to take on its own life form and demand what it needs to demand. And what it demanded was another shot at it after we got the critical and audience feedback.
Yes.
Well, yeah, and the thing was, if I remember right, it was not a secret that it was a process, because I remember the promotion being that we want your feedback and we want you to tell us, you know, what works and what doesn't work.
Yes, he got it.
Members of the press forget that.
Yes. Everybody thinks that we fooled them in some sort of way.
Why didn't you tell us?
And I'm like, I remember even in our opening night speech, in our curtain speech, in our closing speech. I'm like, I could have sworn. I mean, maybe it wasn't written down in the press packet, but I can understand a lot of times.
We love you. I don't hate you, but we told you.
So with the Chicago audience in particular, especially the Latino Chicago audience, they've always got an opinion. And they're always going to say, this is what we liked and this is what we didn't. They'll tell you what they didn't like them in.
And that's what we love about it. We love that give and take. I think the actors even get into it. They want to hear what the audience has to say.
Absolutely. Yes, we do.
So now, in the process of writing, do the other actors chime in as you're writing, or does it wait until it hits the stage and you figure out what's comfortable and what's not?
No, the beauty of the work that we do, which is devised ensemble original work, is I love bringing something a lot of times, or another writer will bring something, and I'll have the actual actresses workshop it. So they read it through, and it's like, oh, I don't understand this, or I wouldn't say it like that, or this is coming out wrong, and that really, really helps develop the script in a different way. So everyone has an input.
Or they add their own story,
and they add their own story,
we're like, oh my God, that's what actually we're trying to say, but better.
Yes.
It's another link to the past. Because the Happiness Club, which you'll Google later, Paula, they were belly down on the ground writing and remixing and drawing and performing, and it's like what you guys are doing now. You're tweaking and stuff, and it's important that your voices are out there, and then what you're doing is your own work as opposed to doing somebody else's work, which I guess, Paula, you've done other people's work before, so it's kind of interesting to go from, reading the script that somebody wrote to participating in something that you can actively remix if you need to.
Yeah, absolutely. And it took some getting used to, that freedom. Oh, I can just say this, that I didn't necessarily come from that background. So it's been a lot of fun. It's been very creatively,
Yeah, it's kind of antithetical to a lot of the training in mainstream kind of conservatory settings, which is kind of exciting to us.
It is.
Freedom, what's that? How many people in the press, supposedly I'm a press guy because of the AM show, but how many looked at you and said, okay, because of Arizona, you guys decided to piggyback on that and do a play? Because I don't think that's what you did.
No, that isn't necessarily what we did, but it was very interesting to hear the press, a lot of the press say that we sounded angry. And okay, maybe it was a little preacher that first workshop.
They must have been Maryland.
I don't know.
Because the show in any incarnation was never as angry as I think we really are, which is what's so funny about it.
Yes, it is. It is.
Sorry to cut you off.
No, that's totally fine. It's just very interesting that a lot of times mainstream, and I do say mainstream because they're comparing it to other mainstream shows.
Right.
And it's interesting. I cannot begin to articulate that the theater that we do is for social change. It is. I'm not putting up traditional Shakespearean play. We're not talking about those things. We're talking about real life issues that affect real people, that affect ourselves, that affect the generations before us, that our ancestors are rolling over in their grave for, all of those things. And it's hard. It's different because we're put in a channel, right, where we have to discuss these issues, and then you have people coming back with well, you sound so angry.
The sirens, I see my friends running. I hear the dogs passing by while we're hiding. I hear the children, they're crying and crying. We need your help, don't you see that we're dying? We're always here every time that you need us, and now we need all your help, please believe me. If we don't stop this ridiculous chasing the land of the free, we'll never be the same.
All of those things, and it's hard. It's different because we're put in a channel, right, where we have to discuss these issues, and then you have people coming back with well, you sound so angry. Why are you so angry?
So it's tougher to do something of substance than it is to just pick up a screenplay and say, let's do this?
Well, yes, I mean, I think that there's difficulty. It depends on how you approach it and who you're talking to, right? I think the answers would differ, but something that occurs to me that I think is really important to say is that people come in with expectations. It's similar to what happened with Machos. They hear that an all-women's group is going to do a play about men, and they assume it's going to be hating on men. And so then they hear that an all-Latina company is going to do something about immigration, and they think it's going to be all hating about white people. And so they're going to hear everything through that lens.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's actually really funny to me, the anger comment, because I actually think one of the most powerful tools that this show uses is actually humor.
Yes.
We talk about a lot of serious things, but there's a really positive and light tone to it, and we use a lot of jokes and a lot of humor to tell the story. So the anger thing actually kind of.
And you guys have always done that.
Absolutely. Humor from the very beginning is part of what we do. It's how you get people to swallow the bitter pill of reality, right?
Yes.
But I think it goes either way. Either we're criticized for not talking enough about the horrible things that are happening on the border and throughout the United States related to immigration and race, or we're too angry about it. So, like with every show, with every critique, you take it on the chin and you keep doing what you do.
Yeah.
We're telling real stories and true stories. The second we stop telling true stories is the second they can maybe kind of critique us. But we're telling what really happens.
Now, what's the audience saying? Because you guys usually do Q&A afterwards and kind of get some feedback in that way.
Right now, the audiences have been wonderful. They really like the progression of the play. They like where it's gone. They are like, wow, it's really funny. I cried, I laughed, all of those emotions, and they're telling their friends about it. Hopefully, at least that's what they say, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, but we've gotten really positive feedback after this one. I do have to say, I feel like it's almost perfect. It's one of those feelings.
I will never say anything's almost perfect just because I'm an obsessive perfectionist.
That's why I use almost.
But I love the play. I'm proud of the play. But I will say, I got to put it out there for everybody. We're struggling right now. We are struggling to get as many people in as we had for the workshop, and I just want people to know, to come and see this play, see a little piece of their lives told.
It's different. I don't think people, a lot of the people that came to see the workshop, we had a lot of, 70% new people?
70% of people who had never
seen our work.
Show before.
And I don't think they understand that when we rewrite something or we go back and we hide, like we literally rewrite it. Like it's very different. You'll see some remnants of what was in the workshop, but we have a whole new through line. We have this whole game show gimmick that goes on, and it's like finish the following sentence, and the girls say funny stuff, and then we have new monologues. I interviewed our grandmothers and interviewed people from the Caribbean, and now you have their stories in there, and it's the whole idea of immigration taking on within the Latino diaspora and within the African diaspora, and how it unfolds here in the United States.
Yeah, it's interesting because right now, theater in Chicago, in particular comedy, and in particular Latinos and Latinas, it's huge, right? A couple of years ago,
Comedy, for sure.
I was just going to say, a couple of years ago, the Brown Girls went crazy with the Brown Girls Chronicles, and everybody jumped all over it because these were stories that had not been told, and everybody had a sense of pride, and let's go visit the steel flags on Division Street. And then Alisardi Casco came to do his thing, where he mixed his comedy with a lot of social stuff.
He'll be here in April, actually.
Yes, he'll be in the space in April.
Oh, very cool. You're right, the All-Spanish program. And now it seems as if people seem to just prefer a belly laugh as opposed to something that's going to make them think?
Oh, I wouldn't say that. I would just say that people think they already saw the show. So it's like, oh, I already saw it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think I see what you're saying in terms of the general. I don't want to put it on the people. I think it's a combination of things. I think people do what we expect them to do, and I think that is the expectation that funders and people who have money who are producing work think that the only way to bring people in is for that quick, easy laugh. And I think that what our shows actually prove is that people do want to think on a deeper level and be able to laugh at complicated issues. At least that's what our strong attendance in the past has shown. So I believe in our audience, I believe in the intelligence, but it goes back to, in our community, we're not raised to go to the theater. We're not raised to spend money on the arts. We're raised that's not the goal, right? That's not what you do with your $20. So I think we have an obligation to our community. We see ourselves as a bridge to bring people who would never ever go to the theater and come to our show and see that it's not stuffy and it's not, it's for you. We're building this for you. So I think that's changing things.
And there has to be a sense of pride with the audience and you guys relating to each other and putting things out there that have not been put out before. And chances are, if you guys don't do production like Crossed, it probably doesn't get done.
That's true. That's true. Or there are attempts that are made on it or about the subject matter, and they're inauthentic or they're ingenuine in a lot of ways, or they're written by people who are not of that descent or don't understand the story completely. As much as somebody can be an anthropologist and go into a place and try to understand a person's culture or try to adapt it and write about it, you don't get the little nuances that exist, So that's just my personal opinion. Not that I am not happy that people try or attempt to write about the borders or write about things. I'm happy that they do because awareness needs to be raised, just in general. But we're a niche, We're all women. We write our own stories. We develop our own stories. We compose. We hire composers to write music that we want to hear. We give them the ideas. The girls write the lyrics. They, this time around they did a wonderful job. And literally during tech, I told my composer what I wanted. He gave me exactly what I wanted. He's a brilliant man, Stephen Yausi. Oh, he's amazing. And he came in, gave it to me, and I gave it to the girls, and I was so busy, and I said, write a song and choreograph it. Bye. And in a day, they came up with an amazing song and dance, and that one is the one that kind of is the last number in the show, and everybody loves it.
Sure.
I see my friends running. I hear the dogs passing by while we're hiding.
Yes.
Well, you've got to come out. You've got about exactly a month left of performances to go. The times range from 7:30 to 6 o'clock. There's a matinee that I'm looking at, too, on the 26th. So, if you want to do something a little early, you can do that. And that all happens at Luna Central. That is 3914 North Clark Street. And then they can go to your website and clickety-click, and not only maybe make a donation, but also you can get your tickets through there too, correct?
Yeah,
Yes,
absolutely.
and you can get your tickets through there, and you can tell your corporate friends to sponsor us.
Yeah, we're looking for sponsors, we're looking for donors, we're looking for board members,
All
we're looking
sorts
for
of stuff.
interns. Follow us on Facebook, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. Get involved in what we're doing. Whether you're a Latina woman, a woman of color, anybody who supports our mission, we want you involved. And yeah.
The arts are so critical.
I couldn't believe when I read the news. I thought to myself this could not be true. Somebody's lost their mind. It looks like from now on we'll need to hide. They're saying that they're gonna go out hunting. So what are we gonna do?